added advantage to the operations of the Nigerian police. You know, when they do right, we give them thumbs up, and when they do wrong, we criticize and advise. I think this is the direction to go.
Well, joining us for the first time since we debuted on TV, Shola Jaisimi. Shola, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you to be here on the TV edition. We've been doing the radio for a long time together.
So, mixed bag of fortunes for Nigerians. We have seen successes from rescue or release, and some still in captivity.
Well, some have tagged what's been happening, the battle of the R's, either rescue or release. But the fact remains that people were held in custody against their will, in captivity. They suffered, were brutalized. Some have encountered things we cannot speak of on platforms like this. But of course, when they come out and we, the media, ask them lots of questions, they tell us the harrowing experiences that they have faced. The good news is that all these persons, although we're hearing reports that those terrorists have kept back some younger people. Recall this incident occurred on the 2nd or the 10th of April. So almost 2 months over 2 months in captivity against your will. So I'm very happy, like Mustafa has said, that these persons are going back to their community. Now, if they go back to that community, what are the protection measures the Nigerian state will be putting in place so that they do not get re-kidnapped and taken back into those mountains and enclaves where these terrorists have kept them? But what we can see, Amechi, is that the camaraderie, the work between the Nigerian military and those U.S., military advisors who have come in, I can say it's working because there's a lot of pressure on these terrorists. We don't know the intricacies, but it's possible that the authorities may have said, look, we may bomb. And from the videos we have seen, we have hundreds of terrorists who have massed themselves in those areas. Collateral damage of that amount of number of civilians will be too huge. So it must have been a negotiated settlement. I heard the Commissioner of Information of Borno State on television this morning, Professor Ibrahim Ta. He spoke from the government perspective, saying that, look, these people were rescued, intelligence operation. We know about all these words and terminologies, but the point is that people are out of captivity, and I'm very elated about this.
I'm happy you raised the issue of efforts to stop further abductions, because it appears to be a weekly, if not a daily thing across the country. And while we commend the military for the hit, so to say, they have put on the criminal terrorists across the country, yielding fruits, we demand that they do more. And you also raised the issue of about 60 reported young people, because they are mostly young people held up back. Would their case be like, for instance, that of Leah Sharib, others rescued and they left behind? Are we going to also see or witness their rescue at some point in time? We ask the government, security agencies to continue to do more, to exert more pressure, to rescue more citizens, and there are so many that are undocumented with these criminals. When we come back from this break, we launch into analysis of the other issues, the 110 billion naira spent by the National Assembly in the procurement of vehicles declared illegal by the High Court. Stay with us.
A bold new chapter in political discourse. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you have trusted on Raypa Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as political platform debuts on your screen, bringing deeper analysis, sharper debates, and the voices shaping our nation's future right into your screens. From policy and politics breakdowns to real-time discussions with key stakeholders, this is more than a program. It is where opinions are tested, truths are uncovered, and the people's voice is heard. Join seasoned hosts and expert guests as they tackle the issues that define our democracy. No filters, no distractions, just real talk. Political platform now on AIT, 9 to 10 a.m. every weekday. Stay informed, stay engaged, be part of the conversation.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Political platform on RAPA and on AIT. Now, the Federal High Court, following a suit instituted by a non-governmental organization, SERAP, declared the purchase of vehicles by the National Assembly, 10th National Assembly in 2023 illegal, and that the processes fell short of established legal requirements and even moral standards. The National Assembly did not show proof that the purchase of the vehicles followed our Extant Law, Public Procurement Act, and due process. So, colleagues, the court's telling the National Assembly, you made a law on how procurement should be carried out in Nigeria. You have refused to subject yourself to that law.
I think it's not just this issue. When you are looking at the National Assembly since the return of democracy, this big illegality, you also need to add the issues of constituency projects. Is it only legislation they will be doing in that National Assembly, or awarding contracts or appropriating money to themselves to carry out constituency projects? If it's water, roads, schools, hospitals, we have ministries and parastatals who can man that. And then what happens to now that over 110 billion that they expended? And a lot of us are of the opinion for a very long time that we should not have bicameral legislation. We need just one. And we are also, a lot of us, to reduce the cost of governance, are of the opinion that the National Assembly activities should be based on part-time, and we should have laws that whichever state these assemblymen and women are coming, the state should be able to pay for their expenses. But when the federal government is talking about there are a lot of competing needs and the budget is never enough, a lot of deficit every year, then the National Assembly members will be holding the federal finances by jugular, doing this car purchase every 4 years, doing constituency projects that cannot be, trail and probe. It's actually very sad that this is happening in Nigeria, where a lot of the citizens, millions, are living in poverty, lack both infrastructure, health, water, roads, and then the issue of insecurity.
Okay.
And these lawmakers are not particularly poor. It's not as if they don't have cars of their own before they even come to the National Assembly. What Mustafa talked about making it a part-time job is what most people have been advocating as far back as 1999. And this is one issue that the National Assembly has refused to look at, to consider. But of course, you know that because this one affects them. But first, let me commend SERAP, because I like the method that SERAP adopts. This is what constitutional democracy is all about. Instead of just coming out to trade words, call names or whatever, it goes to the court. Knowing fully well that when the court determines a case, an issue, of course, up to whichever court that the issue, needs to get to, that is final. You settle it in a way that it's not a matter of, you are the one calling me this. So SERAP has been very exemplary.
Imagine if we have 4 other SERAPs instituting cases.
A whole lot of things.
Especially at state level.
A lot of things should have been straightened out, Remember, even in the broadcast industry, SERAP went to court, and today we are freer because
to express opinion.
Exactly. So SERAP, kudos. I don't know if they will appeal or whatever, but whatever happens, I think that they should also be considerate. A whole lot of Nigerians are living in abject poverty. We have no business flittering good money away.
So, Justin, let's interrogate what the National Assembly did and the judicial pronouncement by the Federal High Court. You passed a law, Public Procurement Act, and in that law, you detailed the processes for which public funds should be subjected to before you award any contract. And in your own case, you refused to subject your expenditure to those processes. What was your argument? The argument of the National Assembly? We are an independent, autonomous arm of government. How can a law you passed for Nigerians not apply to you?
Well, from looking at the judgment, which actually came out, just been in the open the last couple of days and all of that, but it was delivered sometime in May, so things coming to the fore now. The key elements from what I can see is this. The court said that the National Assembly, under the guise of claiming to be an independent, a separate arm of government, is going into illegality. Those were the words of Justice Bogoro, that illegal acts by an arm of assembly which ought to protect the law. So it's an indictment. Uju has said the National Assembly will have a right to appeal. And that's why we have a constitutional democracy where if you're dissatisfied with the process, you go higher. So, but if you go back into the expenses, because this is an extensive judgment, he said that it was reckless for the National Assembly to have purchased an SUV, bulletproof, for 320 million naira for one unit. That's what Justice Bogoro said.
Reckless in the sense that some group of men will come together, perhaps Senate Services Committee or House Services Committee that carry out procurement process. Within them, in a boardroom, they will determine who will get the contract. No bid process.
Correct.
All the processes.
The procurement process.
No
That's
advertisement.
why the court called it reckless.
Exactly. The court even said that the amount for each unit, I mean, you do other things. You help people, you ask about people who do cars from abroad. When you configure a brand new car and, make it an armored vehicle or a bulletproof vehicle, the amount, the last time I checked, it was not more than 80 million naira.
That was that may be then, but
I said-
certainly not.
but beyond that.
Wait, the last time I checked, I said the last time I checked. So probably it is when I checked that's the key thing. So, but the
Has
amount,
checked before the flotation of it.
so the amount was according to the judge that it was reckless. So, and the judge didn't just look at the cars; he looked at even all the allowances there, because the component of the 110 was the one for the vehicles,
Yes.
which was 40 billion naira. Then 70 billion naira for the allowances and all of that. I
Beyond
support.
what the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission approved. That's
Exactly.
what the court said. So going forward, if they pay beyond that, it becomes a crime to be liable for prosecution.
We've had these issues with the assembly. I just want a situation where people who are in the assembly can hold their own and stand and look those in the executive in the eye. I love it because those in the executive have this feeling that you are a rubber stamp. But when you have leadership who kowtows almost every time to the executive, that becomes a problem. Our lawmakers, Mustafa has said we should go into parliamentary, what's it called? Part-time and unicameral. You were at the national, national conference. Mustafa was there. We covered it extensively 10 years ago, 12 years ago. We know how the decisions they made, but implementation is the problem. So until the constitution is changed, but of course, if someone is getting something juicy, Uju will tell us the chances of them agreeing to a unicameral will be very slim.
Mustafa Mohammed, I'm hoping that this would also, by implication, extend to the judiciary, because that's another independent and autonomous arm of government. To what extent do they subject their procurement to the Public Procurement Act?
But you see, this procurement issue has become a very big problem. That's why under the current DG of Bureau for Public Procurement in the past 1 year, a lot of reforms have been carried out, making it very stringent for agencies, departments, and even the National Assemblies in the future to carry out some of these illegalities they have carried out in the past. I can tell you that whatever thing you want to do for the next budget, there's a timeline. You need to present your proposal. And if you don't get approval, you don't do that. And what has happened, it's not just immoral, but it's a terrible thing against the Nigerian state. When you have over 200 million citizens that you are part of, people are being kidnapped daily on the highway. People are being shot at daily and killed on the highway. You go and procure bulletproof vehicles for yourself. How many of you? There are 109 senators, and how many members of the National House of Representatives? 300 and something. One vehicle, over 300 million. You just look at how many boreholes this 300 million can give Nigerians who are drinking from ponds that donkeys and horses and goats are drinking. There are a lot of primary health cares that you can procure a lot of drugs for. You can create allowances. You can put, solars to primary health care, provide educational material. Okay. When you look at the over 100 billion, it can do that. Their allowances and salaries aside in the National Assembly. You will see them living big, buying a lot of property. And that's why a lot of them, when they lose their seat in the National Assembly, they will start selling the property they acquired illegally. That's why many Nigerians are so happy that many of them can no longer get a ticket to return to
the counter-argument from the National Assembly members, ordinary heads of parastatals are even going in a convoy. But my question to them is, you are the gatekeeper.
Exactly.
If they bring the appropriation to you and make provision for 3 SUV, you have the knife and the yam, you cut it out. You can't come back to tell me because he put it, I should also have it. Is it moral, isn't it?
You see, I think that's just a lame excuse. Because if you look at it, like you said, it is within their power to appropriate. So if the man says 3 or 4, you can decide that it is only one that they really need.
And you allow one should be innocent.
Yeah, and then or like they normally do every year, they come with laptops, computers. That one they bring every year, the same number, everything. So it just tells you that, look, they desire such things. So if those people are doing it, instead of stopping them, you are the one who oversights these MDAs. You're the one who determines what they get and what they do not get. They can't go above you. So what stops you from doing the right thing? Because your throat self, they long for that one. Because your throat, they hungry, you make you get
You
up.
want to enjoy
so
the lunch.
you want to now use style, Connie style, to appropriate that one to yourself and say it's because of a man that you have power to determine what he gets and what he doesn't get.
I recall the issue of anticipatory approval in the Senate that led to the ouster of former Senate President, late now, Chuba Okadibo. What did he do? He gave approval for procurement, which runs contrary to procurement processes and all that. But Shola, if you take a look at what is happening in the executive, perhaps, unfortunately, backed by our laws to an extent, the president also has the right to issue anticipatory approval, and he has been issuing them.
Correct.
If Coastal Road did not go through any competitive bid.
Correct.
It was never advertised. We just wake up one day and we hear the president has authorized, which contravenes the Public Procurement Act. And there are so many projects this present administration is doing. So if the executive can do it, perhaps the National Assembly will say, if the executive can do it, can't we also do it? Yes, they have
the language of the leader.
They have executive power, but I'm hoping someday some people will go to court to challenge the extent of the executive powers, whether the president can, on his own, use that so-called executive power to single-handedly award uncompetitive contracts in the country.
So these are some of the things that our governance process needs to look into, either through legislation or through public advocacy, because these laws are there. Nigeria is not, bereft of laws. We have so many, our shelves. We have policies. We have public procurement rules. We have public service rules. At times I look at certain things because I like to look at the governance process in the public sector. And I say a lot of things that I begin to ask myself that, but the little I know about, the bureaucracy, I ask myself that, why is this minister doing such and such? But the good news is this. Only at the weekend, we had this new piece of information that has come in, that there's a circular that even ministers, permanent secretaries, director generals cannot take interest more than 700,000 naira per quarter. So that's what Oyedele, the new Minister of Finance, just brought to the fore. So it's about implementing now. That's where we'll be asking the questions.
Which has always been this problem of this country.
Because when you have policies, you have pronouncement.
How much do they obey? The President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sometimes last year gave a directive that a minister or whoever is a government official should not move more than 4 vehicles in his convoy. But a lot of them move with 7, 8, 10. There's a particular minister who even moves with vehicles manned by soldiers at the front and back. Yes, in the capital city. Yes, when those soldiers should be
order that this personnel should be withdrawn from
yes.
We send them all over.
These are soldiers that should be deployed to strategic places where they are needed, but they are accompanying a minister, even guiding the ministry.
No, but with the issue, with respect, Mustafa, with respect to the one of a minister, it depends on the minister. The Minister of Defense of this country always has a complement of military personnel attached to his or her office. That one is clear.
That's not what we're
For
talking
Minister
about.
of Defense.
It's not a minister of defense.
I'm
I'm
talking
going
about
to
Minister of
challenge you to
Defense,
find
Shola.
out. It's not a minister of
that's
defense we are
talking
talking
about
about.
Minister
Yeah, Mustafa was not very, very clear. So I needed to bring that clarity.
Clear,
to that
okay.
It's not a minister of
Last
defense
line
I'm
from
talking
you
about.
before we
these
go on
things
break.
now. I actually wanted to say maybe we need a kind of obvious equesili, the original Madam Due Process, to come and clean up our due process table so that things can be done the right
Is
way.
that not what
The man
she-
there now is doing wonderfully well.
What she did by laying the foundation, but unfortunately,
Adekunle is actually doing very well at the due process. He has stopped so many illegalities, and I know there are so many public officials and politicians who are not happy about what
we'll
the
have to ask him
current-
to also take a look at
Yes,
the
I hope he
National
comes on this
Assembly
program
and the judiciary
to
now
come and
that
discuss his
the
reforms.
courts have said they must subject themselves to the law. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by our guest, Senator Vic Tume represents Anambra Central, and he'll be speaking on the outcome of party primaries, the big one struggling to release names of candidates after conduct of primaries. To stay with us.
In the hallowed chambers where laws are forged and a nation's destiny is decided.
This is your parliamentary program, Inside the Parliament on AIT.
Voices rise, opinions clash, debates ignite.
We cannot be apologetic in the discharge of our constitutional duties as lawmakers of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
From the Senate to the House of Representatives, this is where policies are tested, laws are crafted, and authority is held to account.
We spoke to some lawmakers on their opinions of the document presented by the president.
Every motion, every argument carries the hopes of millions.
We need more hospitals, more health clinics in communities so that they can effectively take care of the primary health need of people.
The questions are tough. The exchanges are intense.
Mr. President, you can have your way, but I will have my say. You can use the gavel, and I will use my voice.
And those who want the proviso are 55 in number. And so the proviso says.
But who truly stands for the people? Who is driving the change that defines our tomorrow?
GTBT, whatever.
Get the answers on Where Nigeria Decides on Inside the Parliament on AIT every Tuesday, 4:30 p.m.
The stories now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Our guest is here with us, Senator Vic Tume of the NDC. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Amaechi. Thanks for having me. Good morning, panelists.
Distinguished Senator, you are welcome to the program. I'm sure you got what may appear as a shocker, whatever, over the weekend when this party, a party is AD,
a political group,
a political
or
group,
Democratic Alliance,
exactly, went to ask the court to deregister your party, that you did not follow due process, just almost like what had been before that was ruled against.
Well, you have to know that such a move is absurd and has no basis. ADA, as a political group seeking registration, cannot ask INEC to deregister a political party it has registered. If the ADA has any grievances or misgivings, they should channel their action against INEC, for not registering them. They can challenge INEC for registering.
They did, but the court didn't agree with them. They did, but the court said INEC was right in not registering you.
INEC not registering ADA?
Yes.
So they should go home and their members should join other political parties that are registered.
But don't you think that some of these cases are distractions?
Well,
they actually affect the party's activities.
Well, they have no cause of action against NDC because they're not members of the same association. If you applied for registration and another association applied for registration and INEC registered one, you cannot complain. Instead, you have to follow your case through. If you feel that you were not registered for a wrong reason, you go to court. So what ADA would have done would have been to go to court the way NDC went.
And that's what I'm saying. They went, but the High Court said no, INEC was right. Perhaps the next thing for them would have been to go to a higher court, the appellate court.
It's their business. They cannot drag NDC into their own problems because they have no right to do so. ADA as an association cannot challenge INEC for registering another political association to be a political party because there's no privity of contract between ADA, ADC, NDC, and INEC. They didn't put a joint application to INEC. It's only if they put a joint application, then they have a locus to challenge action taken by INEC. Independently, the associations applied for registration. It is within the powers of INEC to determine who not to register. And mind you, when ADC applied for registration, INEC did not register NDC for the simple reason that they said their logo was similar to the logo of the APC. And the matter went to court. NDC challenged it rightly in the court. And the court asked them, is there any other reason why you did not register NDC? It was purely an issue of logo, similarity of logo. The Federal High Court went through the processes and took arguments, and even in the open court, brought out the two logos for people in court to help him decide whether they're similar. The other one is a broom, the other one is two fingers pointing at this victory sign. So when they asked them, are these two things similar? And the court shouted no. And of course, it was an unreasonable ground to refuse them registration. So the courts declared that the two logos were not similar because if a political association applies for registration to INEC, the only reason why you cannot register the political association as a political party is one, if its logo looks like the logo of an existing party, that is one. Two, if from their findings, the party is being promoted by a terrorist organization, for example, or you also check and see that the party did not meet the requirement of spread, terms of offices you will open across Nigeria. Whether you have officers that are spread across the 36 states in Nigeria with the FCT. So any party that is able to open the offices in 2/3 of the states of the Federation can be registered as a political party. So NDC met all these requirements, but they said the logo was similar to that of the APC, and it turned out not to be so. You have seen the logo on television everywhere, a broom and two fingers. How are they related? So the court made that order compelling INEC to register NDC because what they claimed was not correct. The two logos were not similar. And apart from that, that judgment was delivered since 10th of December, 2025. And INEC, being the body statutorily empowered by the Constitution to register political parties that was sued, had 90 days within which to appeal against the decision of the Federal High Court. From that day till date, from 10th of June 2025 till date, INEC has not appealed. Now, instead, INEC complied with the order made by the Federal High Court and registered the party.
Would you raise an issue here, whether these are distractions? Because we thought NDC's problem with the courts are over, and here is another one. ADC, 3 different groups, multiple cases. Do you think all these cases against opposition parties are normal, or do you think they are normal?
Well, I don't know. People who are going to court with frivolous actions and claims.
But they do have a right to go to court.
They have right to go to court. Nobody is saying that they won't go to court, but they will lose. There's nothing they can do. because that judgment delivered by the Federal High Court on 10th of December 2025 is now a judgment forever, because there was no appeal against it after 90 days. In fact, we're not talking about 180 to 200 days, you know. So, and aside from that, INEC has complied by the order of court. They didn't go on appeal. They've registered the party and presented their certificate of registration to the party. And the party has since been functioning with INEC recognition. And
now let's go to the other issues. The inability of the parties that conducted primaries to present candidates to make known to the public. Is it the lack of confidence in the exercise they carried out, or there are some other problems? Let me hear what you're going to say about even your own party.
Well, I think every party should be following the INEC guideline, timetable. INEC has set times for parties to do certain things. One of them is to conduct primaries with a deadline of 30th of May. He didn't say that when you finish your primaries, you must publish your result to the public. He didn't say. It's not in any timetable. It's not in any guideline. So political parties have done their best to conduct the primaries. And in our own case, the Nigerian Democratic Congress, we gave INEC statutory notices and told them that we're going to conduct our primaries between this and this. And INEC attended. They monitored the exercise. That's what the law requires them to do, to monitor the conduct of the primaries, and no more.
But where are the results of this exercise? Because a whole lot of your members are actually aggrieved right now because the results of those primaries are not out there for them to see. They believe that by now the party shouldn't have delayed the release of the results so that everybody would know where they stand.
What you are saying is not
delay
applicable to NDC alone. PDP, APC, nobody has published any list of its candidates. You publish the list of your candidates when you what the law requires you to do is to submit list of your candidates to INEC. And there's a timeline given by the law for you to submit list of your candidates. Is when the time comes that the parties will now submit list of their candidates that won their primaries, you know. And, you know, conducting primary is not the end of the process. There are appeals that will lie in the process. And these appeals have also been entertained and determined. So in the party record, they have all these things. When the time to upload candidates' names to INEC comes, or to submit.
So how will the candidates know and prepare?
Eh?
How will the candidates know that they are the ones and then prepare for the elections?
No, it will be published. Any list that goes to INEC will be made available to the public. INEC publishes list of candidates submitted to it by political parties.
So how is Senator Ome, how is the NDC? Not if you have regard you as the new beautiful bride. How are you managing the concerns of not a few party members who have gone to the public to cry blue murder for what they say is being done in by the party during all these primaries? How are you managing all of this?
Well, it's part of the party administrative processes. You will never expect that when you have a primary, everybody will say you have done well, particularly those who are complaining now. They may have known that they lost. So they have to cry out to say that this process was not good. If they had been the ones that the party obviously selected during the primaries, you won't see them on television.
They'll be quiet.
Yes, so they'll be quiet. So the only thing to do is to cast aspersions, blame the leadership of the party, accuse them of corruption, that they collected money from A or B to aid A or B to succeed instead of them. And when they say that, it will be an attempt to disparage the party. Assuming money was collected and you collected money from that person complaining and he succeeded, you won't see him on television.
So are you going to leave them to continue their television appearance?
They have a internal mechanism in the party to ventilate their grievances. That's why the appeal committees were set. Okay. And anybody who has a genuine grievance can go to the appeals committee.
Okay.
And I'm sure that some people went to the appeals committee, and I'm sure that some of them succeeded. You know, not every appeal will have merit.
I understand what your argument about timelines, but yes, the parties will upload to INEC, but those that contested, they don't even know the outcome. So is it not incumbent on the parties, including NDC,
they know,
to publish these
Most
results?
of them know.
For us also in the media.
Most of them know. If they don't know, they can't come to the television to shout.
So what stops the parties from sharing even
but
with
it's
the
within
media?
the right of the party to go by the INEC guideline, do the statutory things they are required to do, conduct primaries, invite INEC to come and monitor it. INEC was invited and they monitored the exercise.
Because even in your own primary election in Anambra Central, the first rumor I heard was that you lost. And after some time, I hear you didn't lose. So when parties conduct elections and hold back the results, then it gives room for this speculation.
It's somebody who wants to deceive the public that can run to the social media and begin to claim that he won a primary, that he took part in. At least it's good that he said that there was an election that he participated in. And he didn't say how he won, what was the margin of victory over me, for example. And mind you, I refused to join issues with the young man because as far as I'm concerned, there are people being sponsored to come and throw spanner in the works in my party against me. You know, they are not people who anybody can take serious. You know, even with the broadcast he made that he won, nobody believed him. Because this thing, it was only in my local government that he was cited. And in the other 6 local governments in the senatorial district, he had no presence, no agent. And he won in my local government, where, as my people eventually uploaded the video, you can see that I was the one everybody came out there for, not him. What is his name?
Okay, so
Senator, don't know his name.
Senator, we won't let you go without asking you one of the talking points you raised on this program at the early part.
Yes.
The judgment of the court that the National Assembly, that the National Assembly has been reckless with government funds
in procuring vehicles
and allowances to yourselves.
Well, if SERAP got a judgment, they should go and execute the judgment. If you get a judgment, you have to enforce it against the persons the judgment was directed against. I know that the National Assembly, for example, is an institution that has systems that you can go and audit. For example, if you have anything, it's not by saying, oh, these people are getting jumbo pay and all that, and you get an order. There's an Auditor General of the Federation. Let them go and get the Auditor General of the Federation to support their claim. Or the National Assembly Service Commission. They should sue the National Assembly.
Did you also get the bulletproof vehicle?
I don't have any bulletproof car. Who will give me bulletproof car for what?
You are not part of the...
No, I don't have a bulletproof car.
Did you get any vehicle?
Why won't I get a vehicle? Am I not...
From the National Assembly, from the procurement they're talking about?
Why won't I get a vehicle for performing official function? Is it a
Okay.
crime?
It's just
Are
like
you not seeing people in the executive arm of government having fleet of vehicles? Why is National Assembly singled out for lampooning? Because they were
because you're the gatekeeper, you're the one to stop them.
Check and balance
those fleet of vehicles.
No, you cannot be faulted for having one official vehicle. One, not two, not fleet. I'm not a principal officer in the National Assembly. I'm just a senator representing my senatorial district. And I'm entitled to an official car to do my work.
But this thing
if the only way Nigeria can be good is for senators to be trekking to work, well, I don't think we're being serious.
No, it's happening in other climates.
No.
The point is
there's
this.
no other climate.
The issues around...
Let me tell you, in America,
we see presidents cycle to office in Europe.
And prime ministers in Europe.
In America, senators aggregate in a year. Some of them have up to $5 million for their work. It's only here that when you see a senator, you shout. You know? The senators earn almost $1.2 million in a year. Do you know what it translates to in Nigeria today?
Is it their earning or for their office?
For the offices and works. So that's what I'm telling you. Everything is calculated.
There are people hardly live in abject poverty.
The list has been published. What parliamentarians earn across the world. Nigeria doesn't even appear in the ladder.
I don't know the list.
No, you don't know because your money today is so weakened that when you compare it in relative terms to the dollar, do the conversion, it has no value.
Yes. We'll have to go now. I will have to thank you so much, Senator Victor Ume, for giving us your time.
Thank you very much. Next time, we'll have more time. If you want to look at what is happening in Nigeria,
yes,
you don't focus on things that do not matter. A senator or a House of Rep member is serving the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And you cannot say that it's not entitled to a vehicle, a car, one car, not fleet, one car to go to work.
SUV.
But
whatever it is.
But you are
They said
aware
it's over
that some of
300
your
million,
colleagues,
just one car. I don't even know how much
but
they buy.
you know that some of your colleagues
They
do not
allocate the
reach
cars
the
to us.
grassroots.
They allocate the cars to us. And we don't know how much they are bought. That is number one.
Yes, that's what the cost I've said.
So,
we need to know.
Let them go and verify.
Yes.
Senators don't buy cars.
The Senate
Special cars were given
committee.
to us. Given to us as official cards.
The same way.
And they deduct it from our emolument. Car allowance, they deduct it.
We'll open those
housing
books and
allowance
we'll see
and
all those
that.
details. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank you.
joining us. They will take a break. When we come back, we'll have your news. Stay with us.
Is now break online. Don't miss anything from our real-time updates and exclusive content. Follow and participate in discussions on live TV studio programs to shape the narratives. Subscribe, engage, and share from AIT.live at AIT_online on X, AIT Online on Facebook, Official AIT Live on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads on YouTube. Stay connected with AIT on air, online, on live.
Get ready for a bold new chapter in political discourse. The conversations that matter most are stepping into the spotlight like never before. Political platform, the hard-hitting, no-holds-barred program you have trusted on Power Radio is making a powerful move to television. Tune in to Africa Independent Television, AIT, as political platform debuts on your screen.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Let's get the mails now, starting with Uju.
Emeka Mba sent this one in from Abuja. It says, I wish to plead with the IG and his tactical team and other relevant authorities to extend the same operations that led to the rescue of the sister of former Minister Adelabu and her two sons to the kidnapped pupils and their teachers who have been in captivity for almost a month now in the same Oyo state. The poor are humans too and need to breathe the air of freedom. The forest guards are going to be confronting bandits and terrorists armed with sophisticated weapons, and they must be equally armed to succeed, and not with locally made or inferior guns to end up as guinea pigs. The various governors must use their security votes and more accordingly this time around. Emmanuel Nkama from Alimosho, Lagos says, please, I crave your indulgence to observe that we won't surrender to armed bandits by President Tinubu. Security operatives' rescue of more than 360 kidnapped victims of Borno State, the sister of former Minister of Power and her twin children, are all commendable and heartwarming. Here is calling on President Tinubu, the military, and other security agencies to intensify their efforts and ensure the safe rescue of the Oyo State school pupils, teachers, and others still in captivity. Nigerians cannot continue to live in bondage in their own country.
And there are more mails here from those of you who listen in and watch the program. Ugochukwu Godwin from Lagos writes in, some things don't add up in the Nigerian space. The Nigerian army claims to have rescued about 306 persons held in captivity in Goza, as in 360 How were they able to congregate without being noticed? At the time this was going on, the Nigerian army faced an unfortunate incident where 8 officers were killed by bandits who tried to outrun an army base. I'm not convinced with the statement of the army that it's because of the heavy rain and weather. With the recent onslaught against insurgents, the army should be on guard to ward off such attacks. Night goggles and vision binoculars are not that expensive to get for such condition. Let's stop these terrorists before they turn against us ourselves. Christy Victor wrote in from Kubwa here in Abuja. Will there be life after 2027 elections? Will Nigerians be able to remain alive to participate? Because all attention is just on this matter. Secondly, is it a crime to serve one's nation as an army, navy, air force, a police officer, or soldier? Where are the facilities needed for this kind of assignment? The armored vehicles, the bulletproof, the surveillance equipment used to monitor an area before stepping inside? Why are our leaders not making provisions for the necessary things? Why are they not allowing our youths? Why are they allowing our youths to die unnecessarily? Why are there no proper arrangements to protect the soldiers before sending them out for these kinds of assignment? Who is doing this? Ends with, thank God, and God bless Nigeria.
Yes, several questions from Christy Victor for the authorities to answer. I hope they will provide the answers because ammunition and armaments have been an issue for our security agencies. That's the much you can take today on the program. Thank you also for staying with us. On behalf of my colleagues, my name is Amechi Anapwe. Have a good time.